Sometimes no matter what you do, you're simply out of luck. Sometimes no matter what you do, you will always live with a what if. What if I had done things different? What if I... And that will haunt you forever. Folks, this is Fernando doing another video for more survivalists. Stay for this video because it's one of those examples in which when you're dealing with more commando-style attacks, when crime has reached levels that simply don't seem normal, and as it happened in previous videos, people think, oh, that was a targeted attack. They went after him. Fernando, that was not a random attack. And they go, yes, it was. The thing is that these random attacks happen all the time. This is just the way people end up living. This is the way I lived for a long time. And we'll analyze the video here in a second, and it's unfortunate. We'll try to do our best. As always, it's always easy to analyze these things from the comfort of your home where you're not making life and death split-second decisions. But then you have to wonder, how do you live like this? This is not just some home invasion. This is not someone pulling a gun. No, this is the kind of thing where, at least for me, the only way I can describe it is you're not living anymore. You're putting the pause button on your life. You just clicked on pause. You're not living anymore. That's not life. You're just surviving. You're in survival mode, which sounds cool, but it's not cool when it's in real life and it's your life and your family's and your kid, and you cannot do a damn thing because everything involves an amount of danger, of exposure, and you know how these things can end up biting you, and you just take so many precautions. You're so alert about everything, and you should, and that's not living. This is not normal, all right? Random acts of violence, crime, that happens everywhere, sure, but not at this level, and not so much. This is broad daylight in Lomas de Zamora. Lomas de Zamora is where I used to live, right? There's maybe a little bit of a more lower income part of Lomas de Zamora. Maybe mine was a little bit nicer, right? But still, these things happen all across the country all the time. You just don't have the option, oh no, but this is where everything is. No. At any time, anywhere. And really, you just have to wonder, how much of this can you take living like this all day long? You see the houses that they have fences and bars and all, and this happened in broad daylight. So the situation is this: we have the security detail of the Minister of Defense of the country, Patricia Bullrich. One of her cops, one of her security detail guys, a police officer. That's the guy involved here. The police officer was driving. His wife, also a police officer, and he was taking his daughter. I think they were going to a doctor because she was not feeling well. Again, this was broad daylight. So what you see here is the wife standing, the man driving the car, and his 9-year-old daughter there in the back seat. Okay? So they're just leaving the garage. And the wife is there ready to, and I have no doubt, because we all did this, I have no doubt that she knew exactly what to do. They are just looking around, waiting to be ambushed, and as soon as the car leaves, she will be locking the door, as the garage door, as quickly as she can, right? That's how you operate, right? Between the two of you, that's how you know how you should act, so as to minimize the window of exposure. And yet, this happens. As the car is leaving, this car here sees the opportunity and goes for it. So what they do is they block the car from leaving. Maybe not fully. Maybe there's a little bit more room there, right? What is that you do? Well, you don't have a lot of time because they are already jumping out of the car. Before the car even stops, the guy is getting out of it with a gun in his hand, pointing it at the victim. They already have the drop on him there, right? And the wife is not knowing what to do, especially, again, your daughter, your 9-year-old daughter is there in the back seat, okay? And he does what many of us would have done, which is accelerate away, right? Your wife knows what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to quickly run inside and close the door, right? You have someone with a gun trained on you, but you have your daughter. You're both cops. So the situation could be a number of things. You can accelerate away. You can just give up. You stop the car. Yeah, take the car. And maybe, just maybe, they take the car and they leave. You just don't know. Maybe they take the car and they just try to see if you have anything of value on you. They see that you have a gun, boom, you get shot. They see that you're a cop, boom, you get shot as well. Maybe they take everyone inside the house and ruin everyone's life because they go for your daughter, your wife, you have your life ruined nonetheless. I know of all of these possible scenarios actually happening, right? So you just don't know, and it will always haunt you. What if I had done this? What if I had done that, right? Now, he accelerates. He tries to escape. There's another one here with a gun. One of these guys pulls the trigger, and that's when, instead of hitting him, the daughter in the back seat, and the father stops there. The guy's already escaped. The mother doesn't know what to do. She heard the gunshots. The father, they go to a hospital, but there's nothing to be done. That's it. And that's basically it, okay? My theory here is that they weren't aiming for her. I think that they were pointing the gun at him, right, at that same level. And the moment that they saw that he was not planning on stopping and he accelerated, pulled the trigger, and because of that difference, got the 9-year-old on the back. I don't know. That's my assumption here, okay? There's a number of things here. Why is this even happening? Why is it that you're living like this? Because it's Argentina. And it's been Argentina for 80 years. There's an amount of corruption. There's an amount of decadence in the society, in politics. The idea that life isn't worth anything. The idea that just going around killing people, mugging people at gunpoint, you don't even get caught. And if you get caught, you have a political system that backs you. Because for so long, it was criminals in the government. It was a criminal gang in the government that they allowed this. They even encouraged this as a way of getting back to people that have more than you do. Basically, that's the narrative, okay? And even today, with Javier Milei in government, which we're supposed to be glad about, there's still this smell of corruption. Just, well, we won't look back into anyone's business. If you were corrupt back in the day, as long as you're pushing forward into the new Argentina, no, I don't want that shit. I want them to pay. I want these people to pay. I want people to be brought to justice for stealing, for committing these crimes. I don't want these people to get away with it. And the idea of some politicians from the old Argentina not only still being there, but being brought back in is just it's just so upsetting, right? Now, what is that you could have done? Man, just taking off. That's always a great idea. Do you just draw and start shooting from there with your daughter on the back? Probably not. Most of us would have done this. What he did. Accelerate away. There you go. He sees a gun, takes off. Could he have what? Step faster, accelerate more? If you ask me, my technical advice on this sort of thing, as always, I always recommend my books, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse. Surviving the Economic Collapse, for the economic aspect of a country going through a complete meltdown and hyperinflation and an economic collapse, how you deal with that, and Street Survival Skills for dealing with this sort of thing. And here I have a dedicated chapter on just that. How you deal when someone is pointing a gun at you in exactly that same manner. And my advice is hit him with a car, right? And this is where in my humble work, I do my best of not only researching, but writing about things I've actually done. And I've actually done this. And that's why I recommend it, because at least for me it worked. Now, let me put this down for a second. There's no guarantees here on anything. You're talking about someone pointing a fucking gun at your head, okay? So you may make it or not. There's no guarantees. I'm not saying that what I would have done would have... No. If you do this, you may have well... But since it has worked for me before, this is why I recommend it, right? So what I advise is this: you have the car, which is a heavy machine with a lot of horsepower, and when you don't hit someone straight on, but when you kind of like roll someone like that between one car and the other, or a wall, right? So instead of going like they do in the movies, like straight on, because you're crushing the legs and they still. But if you just hit someone sideways like that, or roll him between you and another vehicle or a wall or whatever other object there is, you spin that guy in a way that, unless you've actually done it, you don't know how that force just sends someone spinning in a very impressive manner. Let's put it that way. Even as long as you do this before he pulls the trigger, he's fucked. He will not get a shot on you if you make contact with him before he pulls the trigger. If he does, the result is still the same, right? But instead of maneuvering around where he has the option of shooting on you, get him first. If you get him first, I think there's a slight little bit more of a chance of you avoiding this kind of outcome. Again, no guarantees here on anything, but I can tell you that, at least for me, yeah, that's why I would recommend. And it's you're using a car against a person, so you do this only in extreme situations like this one, okay? But in that case, the force of the vehicle is a lot more than any resistance that a human can present. So it just spins and rolls and brakes and just loses composure no matter what you're holding, in a way that is very telling. So that's why I feel comfortable recommending this kind of thing, okay? Guys, that's basically it. That's all there is to it. But here we're getting into the extreme case of who lives like this. These things don't happen in civilized countries. There's countries in the world where this never, ever happens. It is extremely rare. Even in places where they're dealing with gang violence. Someone being attacked like this just because you have a car? Are you fucking insane? What kind of criminality have you reached where just because you happen to have a car, you just get jumped like that? And it happens all day long. It's not a targeted attack because he was a security detail. No, it happens all day long. Because if you don't believe me, read the comments below of these videos. People say, oh, you're talking about this one because he was the security detail of the... No. Why are you talking about this other girl or this other boy? They also go through this. And it is true that this gets more visibility because the cop was the security detail of the Ministry of Defense. Because if not, it probably wouldn't have gotten nearly that much attention. And that is just sad. Guys, as always, prepare as best as you can. When you reach this point of living, you may wonder, maybe there's somewhere else where life is better. That's personally what I've decided, and I won't blame anyone for reaching the same conclusion I did. And keep this in mind for yourself. If you are slowly in this ever-changing world where things evolve for the worse, if you one day find yourself living like this and needing to apply so much of this to your daily life, maybe use more of my other book, Bugging Out and Relocating. Maybe that's more adequate. See you on the next one.